Hi everyone, welcome to this new video with me, Rose. If you teach yourself art, it can be hard to find an art style. That is why almost every art YouTuber has a video about finding your art style. Are these YouTuber tips useful and will it help me by finding an art style? Let's find that out in this video. At the moment, I am all over the place and I don't know what I want. I'm still looking for a style to stick to. I'm a chaotic person and I have trouble committing. After 4 years, I'm finally ready to settle down and to research if I can find a style that works for me. As a researcher who is transitioning into an artist, I will study what is being said on YouTube. I've watched YouTube videos of Samdoesarts, Marc Brunet, Kelsey Rodriguez, and I summarize all that I learned in this video. You'll see my conclusions at the end. Before we start, don't forget to subscribe and like the video. It helps a lot and will keep you up to date for future videos. Let's go. Step 1. Research. First, YouTubers mentioned that you should study the artist you look up to. So I did. I created a mood board with artworks that I liked. I looked at Pinterest, Instagram and ArtStation and picked out the pieces that I found most appealing. And here is my mood board. I found some new artists like analyse and Frame that I really liked and didn't know before. As I looked at my favorite pieces, I took notes on what I liked and what I didn't like. I noticed that I prefer line art and illustrations, as well as artwork that portrays everyday life with simple lines and colors. To make it easier for myself, I made this Notion template to help me out. You can just follow along yourself in any way you like, or you can get it in my Gumroad store to support me. The link is in the description. Step 2. Analysis. Most YouTubers mention to analyze what your favorite artists do and to study them. So that is what I will do. Now that I had my favorite artist, I wanted to know more about what I liked about their style. I started by picking my 4 favorite pieces from the mood board. What do these works have in common? It was mentioned to look at their line work, the mood of the piece, and the use of colors. Also, what materials do they use? Are they digital or traditional? I asked myself these questions and why these pieces were my favorites. For me, the standout elements were line art in combination with realism. Samdoesarts is a great example for this, with a combination of line art with realism. I also like minimalistic artworks where one topic is portrayed without complicated backgrounds or details. Step 3. Compare. Now I'm going to compare my artwork to my favorite pieces. Why? Not to be hard on myself for not being perfect or not where I want to be, but to find out where I can make improvements and use those ideas for my own style. When I look at my own favorite works, I see that some themes are the same. For example, 2 of the pieces use storytelling. I really like the character on the right and small bus on the left makes me feel like I'm on a vacation. But what do my favorite artists do that is different? They use a lot more line art and they use more saturated colors and also have more storytelling in their artworks. Step 4. Study. Now that I gathered all inspiration, it is time to study it. I'm going to focus on line art, color use, and rendering style. I took 3 weeks to study other artists, and here's a compilation of some of the studies I did. I tried to recreate artworks and studied how artists use their brushes and colors. Here I studied Samdoesarts and paid attention to how he colored his characters and where he used line art and where not. I studied Irusa's line work and how she uses color in her work because I like the way her illustrations look so vibrant. According to all the videos I watched about finding an art style, it is important to try out different things. So I did try out a lot of different things. Most YouTubers mention that it is important to take time to experiment and explore different art styles. You don't have to settle on one right away. Rather, it's a process of trial and error as you discover what you like. So I didn't give it too much thought and I studied all the pieces that I liked on line art and color use. If you want to know more into detail how I studied, please let me know in the comments so that I can go in depth in the next video. Step 5. This is the final and most challenging step, as I need to apply what I learned and bring together everything I found in the previous steps. And man, I struggled with this. I decided to make some stylized portraits, however I did not really feel it. To make things easier for myself, I decided to just focus on one topic and create all my works around that topic. I don't know why, but I decided to draw a lot of ducks. I like ducks, they are cute. Because I liked a more realistic illustration style, I decided to create realistic duck with line work first. I wanted to keep it simple and have a blue sky as the background. However, the colors had to be vibrant. In the end, it was not really what I liked, so I decided to go with a more illustrative style. However, this was also not what I liked. It did not feel like me, so I decided to draw another duck. What is this? This was the inspiration and this was the result. So yeah, let me say that it did not help that I gave up halfway through the illustration. Then I tried it again, and this was the first time that I actually liked what I created. Look at this cute duck. Finally, things started to come together and I got somewhere. However, I did not really feel it. But then, out of nowhere, new inspiration popped up. Sinix Design had released new anatomy quick tips, and I remembered how much I liked his art style. A combination between line art and realism, which is also famous for its hard edges. See, inspiration can come from anywhere. I went back to step 1 and added some of Sinix's work to my mood board and decided to do a little more research. I discovered another artist, Sarah, whom I liked a lot, and also combined realism with line work. I added her work too to my mood board. I also realized that the show Arcane does the same thing that I like. How did I not notice this before? I was really happy with the discovery, and here is where inspiration started to flow. So I decided to make the same duck and use this inspiration, and this was finally a result I was relatively happy with, and a style that felt like me. To put it to the test, I wanted to create a portrait. I really paid attention to the hard edges and included some line art in piece. I also pushed the saturation in the cheeks and paid attention to the brush economy. The end result looked very cool and something I want to create more of. So I created one more illustration to test this style one more time for this video. Again, really paying attention to the hard edges and line art and using more saturated colors. And here you can see the difference. After all these weeks of studying other people's styles, I think I really did improve in some aspects. I still have to focus on learning more about storytelling, but that I have more direction in the art style that I want. It is very strange that it was not very clear for me what I wanted for my art style. But when I took time to study it, I finally discovered what I liked, or actually I knew what I liked already. However, I never made it clear for myself. So, do these YouTube artists finding your art style videos tips work? Yes, I would say that it is really good advice to take the time to study other artists' work. Of course, art style is something that is changing and developing as you go, but for me it is very valuable to have a direction to where I want to bring my art. It has taught me a whole new way of working and made me more aware of how I work. If you like this video, please subscribe and like, and let me know if you will try it out yourself. And also, if you can check out my Notion template in the Gumroad store to support me in my future works, or you could just follow the steps in this video. See you the next time.